everybody. Welcome to Horror Movie Yearbook. I am Tim.
And I'm Willie.
Yeah, we're a little late this week, but we're back. So, actually, yeah, we took a week. Whatever.
It's been a week.
Yeah, it's been a week.
Or two.
Personal stuff. You don't want to hear about it.
Nah.
Yeah. But we'll be back. You know, stick with us. The Game Nerds are going to be back, I believe, this week as well. I think they took a week off.
They're doing a two-for-one special.
Yep.
They're doing Starfield?
Starfield, which everybody seems to be playing.
And then Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat, yes.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat 1.
Yes. Yes. Indeed.
I love numbering systems in franchises these days.
Yeah.
It's just the best.
Oh, that and Marvel Legacy numbers.
Oh, God, I can't. Don't.
It's my favorite.
You know, that's legitimately... Can I just... I'm not even going to rant, but can I just talk for a second here about this?
Go for it.
It's actually one of the reasons I stopped buying weekly. I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It just drove... I mean, the cost is the biggest thing, but like it just drove me nuts.
Oh, believe me, I'm trying to keep up with Fall of X right now.
Yeah.
And I've just decided, like, I'm not buying anything other than this.
Yeah.
Because, like, I can't, like...
Well, and what happened was, and this could just straight up be the fault of maybe other shops would have done a better job, but, like, I had a pull list, but, like, Marvel kept relaunching the same titles, and they would stop pulling it for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize they did a relaunch of numbering, and then I missed 2 issues that I could never, like, get back, and I'm like, well, why am I doing this?
The dude there now, just a heads up, he'll, like, if you go in there and just be like, hey, can you just pull, like, all the X-Men books for me? He'll pull them, and then, you don't have to. I don't think you are necessarily on the hook.
Oh, yeah, I'd get phone calls from the guy before. You got a lot of books, pick them up.
I talked to this dude, and he's like, yeah, if you come in and just be like, yeah, pull the X-Men books for me for this month, because he's like, I know it's a pain in the ass to keep track of what's going on.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He seems like a good dude.
He's a good dude. He's a good dude. Anyway, enough talk about our local comic book shop. Check out the Game Nerds. They're back. We've got a fun Tiny Terror that's coming out. Let's just... You want to hop in the time machine right now?
Actually,
or do we have any feedback?
I do have a little feedback.
Yeah.
So, firstly, we got an email from Alan. Alan, we haven't talked to you in a while.
We got an email. Yes.
Great.
Alan. And from Alan. Yeah.
Yes. Love Alan. Great to hear from you, buddy. Hope the universe is treating you well. He says, listen, we all love horror here. We're all horrified that Trump is still somehow a candidate for the Republicans. Get it, Alan. But when are we going to start a wrestling podcast? Alan, I don't know. Here's the problem with I love it. I do. But here's the problem with the wrestling podcast thing, just from my perspective.
Yeah.
There are too many of them.
Yeah.
And the trouble with the wrestling podcast is 90% of them are like, I don't want to even say ex-wrestlers, but wrestlers that are kind of past their biggest days. I don't mean that offensively. It just is what it is. Or like guys that worked behind the scenes for a long time, like a Jim Cornette or whatever guys. So there's those, and then there's a lot of like dirt sheet podcasts.
Yeah.
So they cover that. Like, so I guess my thing with the wrestling podcast is like, what do you talk about? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really know. I don't watch. I watch the wrestling I watch at this juncture in my life.
Yeah.
I can just keep up with that enough. I struggle sometimes, depending on how the week goes, to keep up with that.
Yep.
I could never do what a lot of wrestling fans are able to do and watch all of it. And there are some wrestling fans who watch like by all of it I mean like two let's say two of the major companies.
Yeah.
And watch every bit of content. I mean, I don't think they watch anything else. And I can't do it. Like I can't,
Okay. So I want to start off by saying thank you, Alan.
Absolutely. I don't mean to. Yeah, I'm just. I struggle with the idea of that because it's.
I appreciate that you would even think like hey, when are we going to start? Like,
I love it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Here's the thing, because I've actually I've thought about this before, and I came to peace with the fact that I will never do this anyway. There are certain things in my life that I just like being a fan of, that I just like enjoying, like, and that I don't necessarily love all the time to sit down and dissect. I'll dissect it, of course. Like you and I will text, or like I'll sit down and watch a football game, my favorite team, and I'll watch, but I'll be into it and then I'll watch it. but I don't necessarily want to sit down and like dissect it, talk about the things I like and don't like. I sometimes like to just go, I like that, didn't really like that, I'll watch it next time. Same thing with you. To be informed, I would have to watch everything that happened every week, and I don't like a lot of what happened. Like, I don't want to watch what I don't watch.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was trying to say. I will say that the only idea that sitting here, and Alan, if you have an idea for a wrestling podcast, I'm serious. Like, I'm curious to hear what your angle would be.
Yeah.
Because it would have to be, for me, it would have to be more than just to be interested in doing something like that. First of all, I'd have to have the free time, which I really don't at the moment. But if I do get some free time, which could happen, who knows?
Yeah.
There would have to be an angle that would interest me in doing it. Like, beyond just being a fan of wrestling. Like, right. I wouldn't just do weekly wrap-ups of a show. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
The only one that popped in my head is like a wrestling bracket podcast.
Yeah.
You come up with some crazy bracket.
Yeah.
Like, whether it's like goofiest gimmicks or like coolest finishing move or best theme song or
see, even this, so okay.
biggest toss, and just like do a podcast where it's just a bracket of that and you work your way to.
So even this, like, great idea.
Sure.
But like, I'm not going to do this because I don't feel comfortable in my knowledge of, I'm just going to say it, WWE past like 2002, like right. 2002 till now.
Yeah.
I could not, like, you could play a theme music, like someone's theme music. I probably couldn't tell you who it is.
Well, I think we would just pick our whatever the heck we want.
No, but like even then,
but
like,
I know what you're saying though.
I wouldn't feel confident even doing that Haas bracket because like I don't know who,
all the Hosses.
I don't know all. Like,
well, that's Great Khali is the answer.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's
like
the winner.
I have a very limited.
I get
knowledge.
it.
Yeah,
I get it. I know that's a fair counter argument. So, Alan, if you can think of something, we just told you how we feel about it.
Yes.
If you can think of something that would get us on the, on the path towards that, by all means. But But yeah, Alan, check out. Watch me do some commentary on YouTube. I'll plug myself.
Plug it.
Northwest Championship Wrestling
on the YouTube.
On the YouTubes, you can watch me do some commentary. Decent commentary. I won't say great.
It's excellent.
Thank you. All right.
You just reminded me though.
Yes.
I have not done this, but I have not said it before. We have people who only listen to us on YouTube. And I can, we've seemed to have got like a decent amount of people who just listen to us.
Excuse me. Yeah.
On YouTube and on a consistent basis because we hover around the same views on there too, and it's very cool. Thank you. First of all, but I do not upload the Tiny Terrors to YouTube. A lot of it's due to timing, and some of it is because I want to make sure you subscribe to us wherever.
So if you're listening to us on YouTube right now,
you're not getting all of us.
Yes, if you like us enough to do this regularly, we do have more content on
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast,
wherever you can find your podcasts.
Yeah, wherever we're on.
Stitcher is gone, I believe.
Is it?
Or is going away?
Okay.
I think I heard something like.
We were on
Nikki
there.
Told me.
We're on pretty much.
There's a ton of places you can find us, but check them out because the Tiny Terrors are a ton of fun, and you get to, not that we don't ramble, we're doing it right now. Not that we don't ramble on our regular shows, but if you want to hear us just go like total like just like random thoughts being blurted out, you can hear it there for sure. Yeah. Thank you, but like because of how we don't have the way we upload doesn't automatically do it to YouTube. I have to do it separately. So, but honestly, just by the time Tiny Terrors come out, I just don't have the time, and I want people to subscribe to us elsewhere. So I don't know how you have the time to do what you are doing right now. So thank you for that again. All
right.
Anyway, are we hopping in a time machine?
We are going. We're going back to November 20th, 1999. This movie came out in November. Seems like it did all right. Anyway, give me time.
Yeah,
machine.
kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
Time machine sound. That was the blade slicing.
You want music or movies from November 20th? Oh my gosh,
we get to do both, right?
Let's do...
Or just one?
Let's do the top 5 of movies real quick.
Okay.
We're going to start... We'll cut it in half.
Let's do that.
This is going to give you an idea. We're going to set the stage for where we were on November 20th, 1999.
Well, wow, where were you, real quick? Just
high school?
You were in high school. What year of high school were you in?
What were you about, a sophomore?
Sophomore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was... this was the year I was graduating middle school.
Okay. So. Did you see this in the theater?
I did not.
I saw it on video too. Yeah.
Saw it on VHS, rented it from my local video store once it hit VHS.
Be honest, what sold you on it? Was it Christina Ricci?
I was in love with Christina Ricci.
Yes.
In love, like she was my first like celebrity crush, even as like a kid, like even before I kind of knew what a crush was.
Yeah.
I would watch Addams Family a bunch.
Yep. I
would watch Casper a ton. And I wasn't into like kids movies all that much back then, but I would watch Casper a lot. And I would rent Now and Then.
Okay.
The coming of age, young prepubescent coming of age tale about girls.
Yes.
And I remember like my dad being like, "Why are you renting Now and Then again?" Like, yeah. He figured it out. And I think he was like, "Oh, okay,
nice little childhood."
I think he was just
crush.
kind of like, "This is like, why do you keep renting the same movie?" Well. And I hated Devon Sawa. I still hate him. Hope I get to meet him one day so I can tell him to his face.
Yeah, but he kissed Christina Ricci.
2 times, Tim. 2 times. Casper and Now and Then.
Oh, he's in Now and Then too.
2 times, Tim.
He's in the Chucky show.
I hate him.
He keeps dying and showing up every season.
Maybe I should watch it.
Yeah, I think you would like this, actually.
It might be therapy for me. Anyway.
Here are the top 5 movies, though, this weekend. Number 5, Dogma.
Love Dogma.
I do, too.
It's my favorite Kevin Smith movie.
Is it?
Yes.
That's cool. Yeah.
It is. I think it's his most well-rounded and complete movie.
And personal. And
yes.
If I point back to because he went back into his shell after all of the controversy, and he made Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, which is kind of a goofy stoner comedy.
A fun movie.
But also not a very personal movie. That's what I mean by going back in a shell. I think Dogma might be kind of like him kind of climbing up in some ways as an artist.
Yeah.
I do think he's gotten, as much as I'm not crazy about something, I do think he's gotten a little bit more personal in some of his more recent work.
Sure, I agree. Yeah, he's such an interesting director. We could talk about Kevin Smith.
I think we did at one point.
Yeah.
The Red State episode.
Yes, we did. Yes, we could talk about him all the time. But like, no, he's I'm weird with Kevin Smith. Where like, I tend to like my favorite Kevin Smith movies tend to be the ones that people generally don't throw in their top couple. Yeah. So I'm not going to say what the other one is because I'll get persecuted for it.
What is it?
Jersey Girl. I think Jersey Girl's great.
Yeah, it's Jersey Girl got bombed by Geely.
It did.
In the benefit.
Jersey Girl, I think, is a really it doesn't feel totally Kevin Smith, but I think it kind of does too.
Does, yeah.
It veers more into one area of Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Than anyway. So
number 4 at the box office, The Bone Collector.
Bone Collector, cool movie.
It is kind of funny, isn't it? Yeah.
Of like there were a lot of movies like that.
That's kind of like, we're still in that post Silence of the Lambs.
Post Silence of the Lambs. There were a lot of movies where they would literally just draw who are the top 10 biggest actor and actress names right now, and they'd pull one out of each hat, and they got Denzel Washington and Angelina Jolie, and they said we're going to put them in a serial killer thriller, and they were doing that a lot.
Yep.
Like they were of this rash of these movies that was coming out over the course of this time period. I think Bone Collector is like one of the best. So
I enjoyed that one too.
Yeah.
Pokemon, the first movie at number 3.
Sick. Saw it at a drive-in.
Nice.
Sick movie.
You were a Pokemon guy, right?
I burned hot and bright, or whatever they say.
Yeah. It is still going strong. Speaking of the comic store, every time I go in there, someone is at the desk trading in Pokemon cards.
For sure, it's still a big deal. I am not. I was a huge Pokemon fan for about a year, and then I was over it.
Okay.
It was quick. So I never had any sort of major. My nostalgia for Pokemon is fleeting. How about that?
Okay.
It's there a little bit, but yeah, that first movie's pretty good though. It's touching. There's a really, really touching scene with Pikachu. So.
Okay. I've never seen it. Pokemon passed me by. Number 2 is the film we're going to be talking about, Sleepy Hollow. And
nice.
number 1, The World Is Not Enough, James Bond. These two are really close.
Oh,
for
help
1
me
and
out,
2.
because you're the Bond guy. Which one is this?
This is the one with Denise Richards.
It's a bad movie.
This is
yeah, it's a bad movie.
Pierce is one of those. He's a Bond, or I like him as Bond, but his movies are not always stellar. I like the first 2, and then after that, those next 2 are kind of fun. But.
Wasn't Dalton the opposite issue, where like he was not the best Bond, but his movies were was a better Bond? It might have been.
Yeah. Same thing with Lazenby's like the go-to, because that one, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, is probably like the best Bond movie.
As a movie.
Like if Connery were in that, it'd be perfect.
Like the perfect
It would
Bond
be the perfect Bond movie. But anyway. All right.
Hi, Nikki.
Hey,
Nikki made a cameo. You guys asked for Nikki on occasion, so you got a little tiny bit of Nikki there. Anyway,
let's roll through the music and then we'll get into the movie.
Yes.
Number 10, "Steal My Sunshine" by Len.
Oh, I love this song.
Do you love it?
Yes, I do. Just recently featured in Twisted Metal, Peacock's Twisted Metal.
Okay.
We watched 2 episodes of it and we were like, it's cool, but I could tell I wasn't into it.
Yeah.
Just I could already.
Yeah. Number 9, "I Want to Love You Forever" by Jessica Simpson. This is like a really, like, she screams this. This is like a power ballad.
Okay, I'm sure I know it.
Yeah. I vaguely remember it. Number 8, "My Love Is Your Love" by Whitney. I believe she's just going by Whitney at this point. This is later career. Whitney Houston.
This is Whitney Houston?
Yes. I believe she's just going by Whitney.
Oh, shit.
I remember this one. "My love is your love."
I kind of remember it. Yeah.
Number 7, "Unpretty" by TLC.
Okay.
Yep.
It's a pretty good song.
Number 6, I don't remember this one. "Satisfy You" by Puff Daddy featuring R. Kelly. Uh-oh. Let's move on.
No.
Just go to the next song. Number 5, "Heartbreaker" by Mariah Carey featuring Jay-Z.
Okay. Yeah, I know that one.
Number 4, "Need to Know" by Mark Anthony.
Yep. Never was a big Mark Anthony guy.
Mark Anthony used to sell jackets at Kohl's. I bought a Mark Anthony jacket one time.
Oh, I thought you meant like he worked at Kohl's. Like he was selling. I was like, how do you know that?
Excuse me. He had his clothing line was carried at Kohl's.
Okay, Mark Anthony used to sell jackets at Kohl's.
Mark Anthony used to work at the Gaylord, Michigan
Kohl's. I was
Kohl's.
like, holy shit. What?
Number 3, this is recently horror related. Mambo Number 5 by Lou Bega. Did you see the Stephen King quote recently?
No.
He said that while he was writing whatever book came out around this time, or just writing in general, I believe.
Okay.
He played this when the song first came out. He had a CD that had this song, a remix, and like the instrumental, and he just played it on a loop while he wrote. And he's like, "My wife was going to divorce me."
Do you know what book it was he was working on?
No, I don't.
Shit,
My guess is you work it on Variety, but yeah.
I want to find out because like that would I want to see
would
how.
Have been 99 would it have been Dreamcatcher maybe?
I think so, dude. Which makes a lot of sense. that to me feels so right. I'll have to take a look and see what came out around that time. Mambo Number 5. Not a great song. Very catchy. Not one of my I'm not gonna say not a favorite of mine. How about that?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say not my favorite. Not a great song. That's not fair. Yeah. Definitely an earworm though, right?
Definitely. This was all over. The next one here, number 2, is "Back at One" by Brian McKnight.
Stop back at one.
You're like a dream
that's like a good middle school or high school dance song, right? Dreamcatcher came out in 2001. I'm pretty sure he was writing Dreamcatcher.
I remember.
Because the car accident was 99. Holy shit, he was listening to Mambo Number 5.
Well, he was writing Duddits.
Oh my gosh. Poor guy.
Brian McKnight wrote a song about 10 years ago now.
Okay.
It was the most like raunchy song. He performed it at the Adult Video News Awards.
Well, okay, so I was just going to say that. So Brian McKnight, the song that you're referring to was part of a musical project he was doing.
Yeah.
For he was writing songs for a pornography website. So when you would start to play the video of your choice, Brian McKnight would come on and sing about, I'm not going to say.
I've got the lyrics right here.
Are we doing this? Your parents,
no, we can't. Well, we've got the explicit tag. I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm giggling at these lyrics.
I don't care who hears it, but are you sure?
Let me show you how that works. Bet you didn't know that it could squirt. I can't say it. I couldn't blink.
Yeah. I read lyrics or heard a clip of he had a song that was written about how can I put this delicately? What I guess you would consider a non-traditional point of entry.
Okay. The back of a Volkswagen.
Yes, exactly. We'll call it the back of and it was very I remember hearing it, and it was very funny. Because he sang it with his same passion and conviction that he'd sing about anything.
Yeah.
It just so happened to be about this thing.
Back at One is not.
Are we sure?
We don't, because that's the thing. Yeah, most songs.
Let's analyze those lyrics.
Yeah, most songs they're just not as explicit as his later pornographical work.
Audience, go back and analyze the lyrics, and you let us know if it's not raunchy.
And the number one song in America, November 20th, when Sleepy Hollow came out, 1999, Rob Thomas and Carlos Santana's "Smooth."
I don't like this song.
This was like this one, and Rob Thomas was he was like the soundtrack to a lot of the Detroit Pistons early 2000s playoff
That is true.
runs.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Before they started winning a ton, right?
Yeah, it was during their playoffs. It was before, their championship. I think I don't think "Smooth" was their championship song. I think it was "This Is How Our Heart Breaks" was their.
Yes, and then they started doing the Black Eyed Peas thing.
Let's Get It Started. That was another one.
That was post winning their first championship in forever.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. A
little basketball.
Little Detroit Pistons trivia. Early 2000s, going to work, Ben Wallace, Pistons.
You got the only bit of basketball trivia out of me that you'll ever get out of me. So
they were a big deal back in the...
That's not true. The one little piece of trivia. Wes Craven had a character kill somebody with a basketball in one of his films.
Yes, he did. Well, we've talked about basketball a lot because we talked about John Carpenter.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
I wonder if John liked the...
Likes Deadly Friend?
Early aughts Detroit Pistons.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Were they winning? I love John, but...
He's a bit of a bandwagoner.
Yeah, I bet he's got a Lions shirt on right now.
We are talking about Sleepy Hollow, though.
Yes.
Sleepy Hollow is directed by old Timmy Burton. Let's talk about Tim Burton real quick.
Well, we've literally... I can't say we've never brought up his name, but we've never talked about a Tim Burton movie specifically on this show.
Yeah. Because this, I will say, I think, and we talked a little bit about this off air, I think this is his only straight-up horror movie.
Which is crazy because, like, when you think of Tim Burton, you think of gothic. You think of like the gothic look. You think of that kind of twisty, spindly architecture. You think of a lot of black.
Yes,
black and white. A lot of contrast. That you think of those spooky Danny Elfman scores. I mean, like Edward Scissorhands, another example. You know, like. It feels so close to horror, but it's not quite, full.
Let's see. I'm bringing up his filmography.
Okay. And wow, it's a heck of one.
Yeah, we're gonna just rapid fire here. We're gonna start at the beginning, which would be, I guess, like Frankenweenie. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, though. It's like his first feature film.
Yes. Nikki's favorite movie.
Let's say, let's do this. Fan or not a fan? Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Love it.
Yeah, fan. Beetlejuice.
Love it.
Yep. Original Batman.
Love it.
Yep. Edward Scissorhands.
Love it.
Yep. Batman Returns.
Love it.
Ed Wood.
I like it.
Yeah. I love it. I'm like
I haven't seen it in years, so I don't want to say love it because I haven't seen it in years.
Until right now, I'm like 100%. Like I
like all of these. I'll just say here. I'm not gonna do like it, love it. I'm just gonna say yes or yay or nay. There we go.
Mars Attacks.
Yay.
Yeah. Sleepy Hollow.
Yay.
Planet of the Apes.
Nay.
Nay. Yeah, I'm a nay too. That's my first nay. I'm with you. Big Fish.
Yay.
Yep. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Nay.
I'm a definite nay on that. I don't like that movie. Corpse Bride.
Never seen it.
I have. I'm like a. I don't remember. The music video for The Killer's Bones.
Never seen it.
Sweeney Todd.
Yay.
I'm a yay on that too.
It's a light yay, but it's a yay.
I guess you know what
I was tiring of the Tim Burton Depp
Johnny Depp thing at that point,
and Helena Bonham. I was like, all right,
that's close to a horror movie too.
That's close.
Yeah, that's close to being straightforward horror, but the musical element always throws me on that.
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland.
I'm gonna go yay. Actually,
you like this one? Okay.
I think it's actually kind of fun.
I have not. You know what? I have not seen this one.
It's actually quite a bit of fun, and it feels like a Burton movie through a Disney lens in a good way.
Okay.
It feels like a nice marriage. That's what I thought. It felt like a nice marriage of the two. So I'm going to go yay on that one.
Dark Shadows.
Never saw it.
I'm a mixed on Dark Shadows.
Okay.
Dark Shadows kind of bums me out because I feel like early Burton would have knocked it out of the park. Dark Shadows, of course, is based on the old soap opera.
My mom was always a big fan.
Yep. Yeah. And you can see like the influence of that soap opera on a lot of his work, and I feel like Prime Burton would have killed it, but he doesn't play it straight. He plays it like a
campy,
like a farce, like a camp.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like kind of like a spoof.
I've never seen it, so
Frankenweenie.
Never saw it.
I'm like Big Eyes. I'm a yay on Big Eyes.
Never saw it.
Check Big Eyes out. That's good late era Burton. Dumbo.
Never saw it.
I have not seen this one either. It looked like I might like it. Dumbo's got some daddy issues, doesn't he? He's got mommy.
Yeah, I think it's more mommy, but daddy's not. See, Disney characters are fucked up, dude.
Yeah, the dad doesn't like.
Yeah, there's one of the parents is never present. So,
what's your favorite Tim Burton movie of the ones?
Oh my god,
that I just named.
I didn't expect you to do that for some reason. My favorite Tim Burton movie.
I would call myself a fan of Tim Burton.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's your favorite Tim Burton movie? I don't know that
I think
I can't think of one.
Ed Wood. You know what? I'm gonna be lame here. I think it's Beetlejuice.
Great choice, yeah.
But I just want to say, I like a lot of these movies, and like some of these, like I love Batman Returns. I like Ed Wood is probably like his best movie.
Okay, but it doesn't have to be your favorite.
Big Fish, though, is to me like that's the ultimate Burton movie. Is Big Fish in some ways because
it's
like
kind of that culmination of everything you did up to that point.
Yeah.
Right,
and it has kind of the daddy issues that we talk about in a lot of his movies. Not this, this one so much.
My favorite Burton movie. I don't want to say Batman '89, but I kind of But I don't like that. I'm not gonna say I don't know.
But I love Mars Attacks. That's kind of what I'm with Beetlejuice because
Beetlejuice is up there.
Yeah, because it feels like I don't know. It's early Burton. He's playing around.
But Scissorhands is up there too.
Yeah, Scissorhands is really great too.
I can't do it. Yeah.
You ready to talk about? You're ready to dive into this? Oh, you know what? Let's quick review of the movie.
Yeah. Yes.
Go for it.
All right. You know what? I'm not shy. I'll go first. Tim. Haven't seen Sleepy Hollow. Glad you brought this one up because this is one of those movies where like I feel like I this is not a knock in the movie. I feel like I never like I'm not sure I ever would have watched this again for any particular reason if you hadn't brought it, which is part of the fun of doing the podcast is like. I saw Sleepy Hollow back when it came out on VHS. I remember renting it on the new release wall. My dad's a big Tim Burton fan. My mom's a big Johnny Depp fan. We all watched it together. And I remember liking it, but I remember thinking, like, it's all right. Like, okay, it's cool. But I was never, like, certainly wasn't, like, blown away by it. And I don't know what the reasoning back then was for it, but for whatever reason, I remember walking away going, like, it was an all right movie. Like, it was cool, you know. And I don't think I've watched it since then, which is crazy. That probably was like 2000.
Yeah.
Or 2001.
Yeah, it would have been
maybe.
when it came out on like DVD and VHS.
That sounds right. And
I feel like this is one of the first DVDs I ever watched for some reason.
That seems right. I know I saw it on VHS though, because my first DVD I ever owned was Swordfish. Have I ever talked about this?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Yeah. Anyway, but
people that have seen Swordfish probably understand.
Oh, it was the perfect first DVD. The rewind capabilities
and the Hugh Jackman dancing scene.
Anyway,
yeah.
And
Travolta's really funny.
I had a portable DVD player too.
Oh boy.
Anyway, Nikki chimed in. She heard us talking a little bit up there.
Tim Burton.
And so Nikki wants to make another cameo here. So are you talking about Beetlejuice? I feel the same way. Kind of overrated. We were talking about Beetlejuice. I'll have to respond to her.
It's my favorite.
We were talking about Beetlejuice. We were not saying it was overrated, but that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the thing about Tim Burton's movies is he's one of those guys where like I feel like any of his movies you could say are overrated or underrated. Yeah. Like any of them.
It's a taste thing with him.
It's weird, yeah.
It's like Wes Anderson. Some people either you gravitate towards it or you don't.
For sure. It's a very similar, yeah. Anyway, we were talking about Sleepy Hollow. So before I cut off on Swordfish's tangent there, watching it this time I went, man, like I don't think I can name right now, and when I first thought of it, I don't think I can name a more perfect marriage of director and subject than this. This is about as like The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Tim Burton. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Like it's and most of us, I think, probably you too, but like I think for most of us, like our first encounter with this Legend of Sleepy Hollow was the Disney, the Ichabod Crane cartoon.
Which I watched last year and still really like.
It's great. Yeah. It's great. It's really good. It still has that danger of early Disney.
Yep.
Not that like there isn't, but it is that there's a certain element of like danger and darkness about that one that some of those early Disney movies have. And when you watch that Disney one, you go like there are the illustrations and stuff. You go, feels like Tim Burton. It feels very the use of shadow and the use like the twisty trees and it feels very Tim Burton. So it's a perfect marriage. And I think Andrew Kevin Walker wrote the screenplay for this.
Yes.
And he had written, he was working on getting 7 out there at this point. 7 had not been released yet, correct? It was 2000?
Was 7? I thought 7 was like 97.
Was it?
Yeah.
All right, well, you'll have to, I'll dig that up. But but Andrew Kevin Walker was certainly a screenwriter on the rise.
Yes.
And,
like I'm sure he's working on these around the same time.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, 7 was 95. I don't know what I was smoking. So this is post 7. Anyway, so just everything kind of came together. It's a beautiful marriage of all these creators and this creative idea. I love the spin on the story. I like the spin, the idea that Ichabod is not a school teacher. He's like is he a constable?
Yes, a constable. Yeah.
Right. And he's there to kind of solve this mystery of what the Headless Horseman is and what's actually going on in Sleepy Hollow. I love the idea of the conspiracy. I like the idea. I like what the movie does with the spins it takes on the legend. I enjoyed it quite a bit watching it this time around. I thought that was a really fun, brisk horror story, period piece thing. That being said, I still kind of walked away from it this time going like, it was all right.
Yeah.
For something, I don't know what it is with this movie because it kind of has everything that I feel like it has everything in it that would normally be like, this is like an A movie, an A- B+ movie for me, but it kind of feels like a B- C+ movie for me. And I don't mean that like it's a bad thing. It just feels kind of like a decent movie. I don't know what's missing for me. There's something there that I must have been feeling back then when I first watched it, and I still feel it now. And a solid entry in Burton's filmography, but I just don't think it's I don't walk away going, man, I need to rewatch that. I don't know. There's just something missing. Worth a watch for sure, but it just doesn't add up to too much for me, except for Christopher Walken.
Yes.
Who's great. Anyway, Tim.
This is the third time I watched it. I watched it when it came out, originally on video, whichever format that was, and really liked it. Enjoyed it. Then I watched it again because I rewatched all of Burton's filmography. It's been a while now.
I remember you doing that.
Yeah, it's been a while now, though.
5 years?
Probably
ago or so?
I think it was, it may have been when the podcast was going on, but I was watching it because I like to revisit his stuff. It may have been around the time. Yeah.
Is he up in your top directors, just out of curiosity real quick? Is like would you consider
as
him...
I go through that,
it's kind of...
Maybe. Yeah. But the thing is, his back, that like later stuff, that Disney stuff for me, never really clicks. Like his...
But I think a lot of your favorite directors are the same way, right? And same with mine.
Right. I think...
The later era, you kind of go, like... Even like Raimi, like... He had some... Like Burton, he had some ones that you really kind of... like.
Yes.
Drag Me to Hell is a good example.
Yep.
But he also had some stuff like Oz where you're like, eh.
Even like Carpenter, too. A lot of that later Carpenter stuff, I have to work to find what I really, really like in it.
Yes. Yes. It happens, I think. I don't...
It does. But you know what? Then stuff like... I really like Wednesday. And I think he's kind of like a perfect fit.
See? So there you go.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's weird. I can see why younger people gravitate towards Tim Burton.
He's a misfit.
Yes, yeah.
And I think most young people feel like misfits in some way.
Yeah. So. But you know what? He has what I've always dug, and why he and Depp were a really great team together, is they were able to take that kind of outsider perspective. I think this is a great example of it too, this movie.
Sure.
And filter it through like a more mainstream lens.
Yes. Oh yeah. His movies are very commercial too.
Yes.
Well, most of them. Yeah.
Yeah. He's able to kind of... like smuggle in the weirdness in his own way.
Even Pee-wee, which is his first major. Well, he did Frankenweenie, but that was a short, wasn't it? The original Frankenweenie.
Frankenweenie was short because he did a feature length.
Pee-wee was his first, and like even Pee-wee, when you watch it now, it feels like a studio movie. It's just bizarre and wacky and crazy, but somehow it like. I mean, that works. You
said Batman 89. Batman 89 is a prime example. That movie, people look back on it, like, you look back, it's got a Prince soundtrack. Jack Nicholson is all over the place. Michael Keaton was a huge...
that was a big deal because he was a comedic actor.
He was a comedic actor. He does not look anything like your prototypical Batman.
Kim Basinger, I think, was not unknown, but not She was not.
That Gotham is so stylized after like 1920s German horror.
Yeah.
You sit there and you go, and like that's kind of the Gotham they would go with for a little bit.
Yeah.
In the comics and the cartoon. And you sit there and go, like, man, that was the biggest movie of all time for a while. Like, that was like the biggest movie of the. And then I hear people go, like, yeah, they don't make them like that anymore. I'm like, no, they didn't really make it like that
back then.
Yeah,
no,
like,
there are some movies that are just outliers. They are. There are some movies that like I love that you said that because it's true. Like, yeah, they just these new Batmans don't hold a candle to it. Well, that could only have happened once under the circumstances it happened.
Yeah,
it will never happen again. And that's okay because it makes it special. But like, no, there's some movies that just you will never you could try and you will never recapture whatever cocktail was happening creatively at that moment.
His movies always like give me like the other things too is me, I'm a vibes guy.
Yeah,
I like to, especially around this time of year. Like I like the vibes.
Yeah,
I like to watch movies for vibes, and that's okay.
I think it's great.
Yeah, this to me, Sleepy Hollow. A lot of it works on vibes because it's so like spooky and atmospheric, and it feels. I picked this because I thought it was a Halloween movie, and it kind of is, but like Halloween wasn't really.
I mean,
it's got jack-o'-lanterns and stuff.
We'll count it. It does have the vibes though.
Yeah, and because it feels. You see his influence of like Hammer horror is all
big
over
time,
this movie,
huge.
including some of the actors.
I mean, Christopher Lee.
Yep. So. That's what I mean by that. This is because where it doesn't work for me is that original story. If you go back and read it, is very slight. It's like but that's the way it's meant. It's meant to be like a spooky Halloween style. One night reading it.
It's a campfire tale.
It's a campfire tale.
It's a story that you tell a group of friends when you're all, at a sleepover and to like freak people out. That's it. That's
the story doesn't necessarily lend itself to a feature-length movie, and I think some of the mystery in this movie doesn't really work for me. I get a little bit. But you know what? That's kind of Burton in a nutshell. Like when I look back at like Batman '89 or even Batman Returns, like the specifics of that movie, the plot detail, like the plot of those movies don't really always work or make sense to me.
Sure,
but it's a Tim Burton movie through and through. Like there's a weirdness to it. Yeah.
There's a logic that his movies have that isn't necessarily like our logic. It's whatever his logic is. So yeah, no, I think that's part of sometimes where like the commercial aspect of his stuff comes in, where the creativity, like his creative voice and the commercial aspect kind of blend, is that ultimately I think Burton is a storyteller who, if it's entertaining his audience, or he thinks it's going to entertain his audience, he's not going to worry about the finer details sometimes. Yep. Just make it happen. So.
All right, I'm gonna try to run through this plot as quick as I can.
It's a pretty brisk plot anyway.
Yeah.
So.
In 1799, kind of funny that they said it in 1799 too, like in 1999, turn of the century. Ichabod Crane, a New York City police constable criticized for predilection for scientific methods, is dispatched to the upstate Dutch hamlet of Sleepy Hollow, which is plagued by a series of brutal decapitations.
Indeed.
A wealthy father and his son, Peter and Dirk Van Garrett, and widow Emily Winship. Received by the insular town elders, wealthy businessman Baltus Van Tassel, town doctor Thomas Lancaster, the Reverend Steenwick, notary James Hardenbrook, and magistrate Samuel Phillips. Ichabod learns that the locals believe the killer is the undead apparition of a headless Hessian mercenary from the Revolutionary War who rides at nightfall on a black steed in search of his missing head.
Let's talk about that.
We're pretty sticking to the original story here.
Yeah.
We're pretty true to the original story.
Pretty
at
much.
This point.
Yeah. I mean, he goes in either version. He goes to Sleepy Hollow to kind of investigate what's going on. This time, he just happens to be like forced to do it by his bosses because he's an investigator.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm gonna get it out of the way. Christopher Walken in the movie plays the Headless Horseman. I don't know that he was playing the headless version of the Horseman. I like to think that he was in that suit.
Yes.
But probably not. That being said, he's amazing and hilarious in this because he doesn't have a single line of dialogue, and he's got an insane like fright wig, and amazing fake teeth, and he just hisses and growls at everything. It's sweet. There was no reason that Christopher Walken had to play this role.
No, but yeah, but
it's awesome.
We talk about like Burton influences, and like Walken playing like a silent film,
it's
like
awesome,
no dialogue style, like horror villain is perfect.
It feels like a Lon Chaney thing or something.
Yes,
it's so cool. I joke about it because it is a silly thing to think about that like Walken is running around in this movie, like in an insane wig and stuff. But like that's not the first time he put him in a crazy wig. But I legitimately think it's a very cool choice to have Walken play this character. And that origin is obviously from the original story as well, the Hessian mercenary thing. I will say, I think I'm starting to discover as we go through the plot already some of the things that maybe those like intangibles that I feel like are missing. Here's the thing with Depp in this movie. I don't think he's miscast. I'm totally cool with Depp as Ichabod Crane. The performance is fine. Because of the nature of the story and the character of Ichabod Crane, yes, Depp gets to get weird and kind of eccentric with it because he's working with Tim Burton, right? And that's like those two are known for creating together kind of crazy off-the-wall characters. But he's never able to like do that much with it. He's always kind of reeled back because there's limitations to what you can do with the Ichabod character, which might be for the best, judging by some of the later collaborations, because things get really wacky later on.
Yeah.
But it does... It's unavoidable that it feels a little bit muted because of that. Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think it affects some of the other performers around him too. Like even like Christina Ricci feels a little bit like
there is not a lot of chemistry between the two, and I think some of that is
they dated, didn't they? Am I crazy here?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
There's an age difference between the two though. Well. At this point, too, like 9 or 10 years. Yeah, well, yeah. I don't think they have a lot of chemistry on screen either way.
Regardless, yes, I agree with you. There's not a lot of, and that romantic attraction is one that we're supposed to buy into very quickly.
Yeah.
Because they haven't known each other that long, and they're supposed to be like madly in love. So that I think and the love story is a big part of this version of.
It is, yeah. You know what?
So
I think
that might be a bit of an issue there. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
Well, real quick, I wanted to make my case for this being a Halloween movie.
Yes.
Even though, so it takes place in 1799. Halloween was not widely celebrated at this point in North America. It wasn't until after like the Irish and the Scottish came over, immigrated later. Okay. I will say though, this is a big jack-o'-lantern movie.
Oh yes.
Yeah, like the first, because we're in the parts where you see all the jack-o'-lanterns all over town. And it gives you, so this is a proto-Halloween movie. This is a Halloween movie before Halloween came to our shores.
I like that.
So a little history on the jack-o'-lantern, and we'll get going here. In Ireland and Scotland, people began to make their own versions of Jack's lanterns by carving scary faces into turnips or potatoes and placing them into windows or near doors to frighten away Stingy Jack and other wandering evil spirits.
Stingy Jack.
In England, large beets are used. Immigrants from these countries brought the jack-o'-lantern tradition with them when they came to the United States. They soon found that pumpkins, a fruit native to America, make perfect jack-o'-lanterns.
Pumpkins are native to America?
Yes, and
that's cool.
I've never thought about whether they're a fruit or a vegetable before. They're a fruit.
They're fruit.
Yeah.
Because the seeds, I believe.
The seeds.
Yeah.
I've never thought about it. Yep.
Yeah, tomatoes is always the one that blows people's minds, I feel like. Although most people know that at this point.
I need to look up if we have any Stingy Jack movies out there.
I'm going to look it up while you continue through the plot.
Because here comes the plot. Ichabod, however, is skeptical of the paranormal due to his family's past. Boarding at the home of Baltus Van Tassel and his second wife, Lady Van Tassel, he is taken with Baltus' spiritual daughter, Katrina, from his first marriage. When a fourth victim, Jonathan Masbeth, a servant in the Van Garrett household, is killed, Ichabod takes the victim's son, young Masbeth, under his wing. Ichabod and Masbeth exhume the victims on a tip from Phillips, learning that the widow died pregnant. The headless horseman decapitates Phillips next. Ichabod, young Masbeth, and Katrina venture into the western woods for the horseman's grave. They find a witch living in a cave who reveals that the horseman's body lies under the tree of the dead. Ichabod digs up the grave and discovers the skull has been taken, deducing it was stolen by someone who now commands the ghostly revenant, who comes into the world of the living through the tree and who will continue to take others' heads until his own is restored to him. Stop.
There you go.
We talked a little bit about the differences between the book and the film. Have you ever read the book? I have.
I've read it at some point in time. It's been like a very, very long time. There is a film called Stingy Jack.
Is there?
There is indeed.
Horror movie?
It stars Michael Berryman, Kane Hodder.
I am sold already.
And Bill Moseley.
My God, what a cast.
What a trio. Yeah, there you go. Oh, wait a second. That could be in development. Perhaps this doesn't actually exist anymore. So it says in development, and I'm not sure what that means exactly. So moving on. Well,
hopefully once the strike gets over with, we'll see Stingy Jack with that cast. Yeah, you mentioned Ichabod Crane in the original story. He's like a schoolmaster.
Yeah,
he's also kind of a dick. Like he'll beat his students.
Yeah, well, that was pretty. I mean, yes, that's dickish, but that was kind of the way it worked back then, unfortunately.
He is also referred to as a gold digger by some because Katrina Van Tassel is very wealthy, and Ichabod, as you know, is a teacher, and teachers don't get paid at all, even back in the olden times.
They didn't either.
So I'm not gonna hold this against him. By the way,
look. He's doing what he's got to do.
Yeah,
all right?
Yeah. You know what? I seen a couple of people call in the original story, like call him a gold digger. I'm like, hey, lay off. He's living on a teacher's salary. Like,
absolutely,
let the man live. Irving did not invent the idea of the headless rider. Brothers Grimm, some of the stories in the Dutch and Irish legends, they came up with like a Grim Reaper type rider who carried around a head. So Irving lived in the Tarrytown region, which is called Sleepy Hollow now. He moved to the area in 1798 to flee a yellow fever outbreak in New York City. So there you go.
Hey.
Oh, he was inspired by an actual soldier who was decapitated by a cannonball during the Battle of White Plains around Halloween 1776, when the Revolutionary War.
Like that scene in The Patriot starring Mel Gibson.
Absolutely. That was on the other day, and I watched a little bit of it.
It was your dad. It's going to happen more and more. Have you started standing?
That's the other thing, too. Yeah, I stand and sway as well, because I've got the baby move, like when I'm trying to rock.
Even when you're not holding the baby?
Even when I'm not holding the baby.
Crazy,
my wife and I both do it. Yeah.
That'll go away eventually.
I stood, because a couple months back we did the Terrifier. I stood and watched the Terrifier 2. Like it was a dad movie.
You're just standing?
I was just standing, and the kid was he was taking a nap.
And you're like, why am I standing right now? See, isn't that alarming?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, Stingy Jack.
That night, the horseman kills village midwife Beth Killian and her family, as well as Katrina's suitor, Bram Van Brunt.
What a great name for a character.
That is Casper, right? Casper Van Dien.
Casper Van Dien. Love Casper Van Dien.
Got a favorite Casper Van Dien performance, other than Shark Attack, or it's got to be Starship Troopers, right?
Yeah, he's great in it. Yeah. Like legitimately great in it.
He's perfect.
He knows the movie he's in too.
He's perfect for that role, and he's perfect for that movie.
Yes.
Which is a fantastic movie.
It is.
Ichabod was wounded by the horseman, but survives. Ichabod hypothesizes the horseman's targets are linked by a conspiracy. Notary Hardenbrook reveals that the first victim, Peter Van Garrett, had secretly married the widow Winship, writing a new will that left his estate to her and her unborn child. Ichabod deduces that all the victims, except Bram, were either beneficiaries or witnesses to this new will, and that the horseman's master is the person who would have otherwise inherited the estate. Baltus, Van Garrett's closest relative. So we got a lot going on here.
Yes, and I don't even want to dig too much into the whole conspiracy thing, because honestly, it's not... I don't think it amounts to that much, really. Like, yes, does it obviously play an important part in the finale of the film and the motivation behind who's controlling the Headless Horseman? Yes, it does. But I don't think that reveal is very shocking either, to be honest with you. Anyway, I feel like I'm picking on this movie. I really do think it's a solid movie, but I'm trying to identify as we go through the reasons why I just don't feel like it quite fires on all cylinders for me. And the second reason is this conspiracy thing. So I think it's interesting in concept. I think it's cool to have like unravel a mystery, right? I think if you're going to turn, like you said, kind of a brisk story into a 2-hour feature film, or hour and whatever, some change, you've got to expand on the story and put more meat on the bones, I guess. So I'm cool with that. I'm cool with adding those concepts and those ideas of, why are people being picked off and who is responsible behind the scenes. The issue is you don't spend enough time with any of these people with the exception of Ichabod and not even really Christina Ricci's character, you don't really get to know any of these people all that much beyond like he's a farmer or he's the mayor. You know, like there's no. So when the reveals start happening about like infidelities and this person owes this person money and this person's got a secret child and all this stuff, it doesn't really amount to much as a viewer. You're kind of just like, okay, okay, I guess they goofed. You know, I wish. I'm not saying we need to like develop every character in the small town, but I almost wish there was a little bit more to some of the characters.
What I like about the conspiracy, I'm with you. This is what I kind of pinpointed where it starts. The movie starts to kind of lose me a little bit. Is in the conspiracy and a little bit in the investigation of it too.
Yeah,
I do like that. It does feel like a callback to a lot of like kind of classic horror elements of kind of like the secret society and the conspiracies. I'm thinking of stuff like, I mean, The Wicker Man. Even like Rosemary's Baby, something like that to an extent. But I'm more like The Wicker Man, where it's kind of like a village horror.
Yeah, well. with like religious undertones and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking of. So I do like it in that way, but I'm with you. This is where the movie starts to...
It loses me a little bit.
Bit. Sleepy Hollow is a real town. Do you want to go there?
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. I was looking at places to say we can stay at a Super 8 motel.
So where is it at? It's in
New York.
It's in New York.
It's in a city called Tarrytown.
Tarrytown. Is that upstate?
No, I believe it's kind of across from New Jersey.
I don't know. I might.
Or Long Island. Strong Island.
It'd be kind of cool to say, you know.
Yeah, I think
I went, I guess. Yeah, I would do it.
Yeah, I was looking at the Visit Sleepy Hollow website. They have a lot of like tours and stuff.
I'm sure.
They have a pizza place that gets a very good review. That's what I was looking at.
Is they like a Headless Horseman themed?
No.
Okay.
They embrace that.
Well, you have to.
But yeah, Sleepy Hollow pizza place. Let's see this.
I feel like when you try to push back on that kind of stuff.
Beekman Ale House is what it's called.
Okay.
Excuse me.
All it does is draw more attention, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't think it's something like, but it's also like you have to run a business for like locals too, and like the locals aren't going to come out
for the Sleepy Hollow pizza. Yeah.
So I mean,
that's true.
This pizza menu, they got all sorts of beers, but they've got fried mozzarella. Oh. They got wings, buffalo chicken pizza.
Making me hungry, man. Stop it.
Hot honey pizza.
Oh, I had a hot honey pizza.
Did you?
It's good, man.
This one's got Frank's Red Hot chicken cutlets, Fresno peppers, and Mike's Hot Honey.
Oh, that sounds good.
The Beekman Ave red sauce, cheese, bacon, cherry peppers.
Sounds good too.
Hot oil, sauce, cheese, and hot oil.
A double hot oil?
Yeah.
Damn. I'm a fan of the hot honey pizza. Get it if you ever get a chance to do it.
Yeah.
A lot of them call them bee sting pizzas.
The one, the bee sting. Yeah, we're talking about getting one of those. So,
yeah, Howie's was doing it for a while.
Yep. That's where we were talking about.
Yeah, and it was solid. Yeah.
Upon discovering the accusation, Katrina angrily burns the evidence. Hardenbrook commits suicide, and Reverend Steenwick convokes a town meeting. I don't think I've ever heard the word convokes before.
Convokes?
Today. Convokes a town.
Invokes, but not convokes.
Convokes a town meeting. This is taken directly from Wikipedia. There's no way.
It's definitely trustworthy.
At the church to discredit Ichabod, but Baltus bursts in, announcing the horseman has killed Lady Van Tassel. The horseman attacks the church, but is unable to enter. In the chaos, the remaining elders turn on each other. Steenwick kills Lancaster and is in turn killed by Baltus, who is
This part's kind of fun, by the way.
Who is harpooned and decapitated by the horseman. So, this is where I'm going to ask you. There are 18 decapitations in this movie.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite?
Ooh.
Is this the one where the guy's head gets turned around? Because that's my favorite one.
Is this the one?
I think so. This is where he's decapitated.
Well, because this is, what's his name? This is Dumbledore, right?
Is that who it is? Oh.
It's
I can't remember. That's my favorite beheading.
What's the actor's name? God damn.
Gambon?
Yeah, Michael Gambon.
Michael Gambon, yeah.
That's that because he gets stuck in the fence or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets harpooned and he starts dragging him through the yard. Yeah, and then he blasts through a fence and he's laying there and then he gets his head whacked. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
My favorite kill isn't actually a decapitation. It's the Casper Van Dien kill.
Where
he just gets sliced in half.
That's really good, too.
It's sweet. Because it's all done in shadow. It's not gratuitous in any way, but you know exactly what happens. It's super, super slick. Yeah.
Not only is this Burton's, straightforward horror movie, what's funny is that, the gore in this is kind of fun. Like it's kind of that fun gore. So this feels like a Tim Burton slasher movie in a lot.
It does. Oh, absolutely. One by one, people are getting picked off. Yeah, I love that. My favorite decapitation. It's probably the same one because it's so drawn out and it just there's a. I always kind of giggle and laugh anytime like somebody is being dragged by something in a movie. Like it's always fun. Like it's kind of funny, right?
Yes.
Like he's like ah, it's silly. So.
This movie is also it's mean without being like feeling like gross because it kills a kid. Like the young boy is beheaded too, and I think it kills the kid in the technically kills the kid in the womb as well.
Yes, the little boy one is actually handled really well. I thought.
Yeah.
Because it could have been anybody else might have been gross about it, but like I love it. Actually, is more horrifying. Like that the horseman knows where he's at, and the next thing you see is the horseman walking out of the house and putting a third item in the bag, and you're like, oh god, he killed. Yeah, that's good stuff.
This is let's see where we're going here.
Yeah, so he offs. I do like the backstabbing stuff with the town elders essentially like starting to like eat each other alive. Basically, it's fun. Like that stuff's fun because like let's be honest, we want to see the rich destroy each other. So
and the look of it too is what this won an Oscar for best art direction,
as it should have.
Yeah. It's really good. It's always very foggy. It's kind of dark and gloomy is a good word. I do like Elfman's score quite a bit here.
Yes.
I tend to like Elfman anyway, but this is a little different than a lot because a lot of his scores do sound samey. I will say this one there are some twists on the normal.
The weird thing about Elfman, when you say Elfman's scores sound samey, the interesting thing about that is usually it's the Tim Burton Elfman scores that sound samey,
right? Because
Elfman knows what Tim Burton wants, and Tim Burton usually kind of wants something along a similar. Like, Tim Burton has a musical vibe that he likes in his movies.
Yeah.
There's always variations, but with this one, it is a bit different. He's able to get a little bit darker with the score and a little bit more of that. That Hammer horror stuff definitely is part of what he's doing here with the...
Yes.
Yes. But, like, it's weird because, like, Elfman, when you see him work with other directors, I feel like it doesn't feel as samey to me. Like, Elfman working with, like, Raimi on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, you can tell it's Elfman, but it doesn't feel... It certainly feels different from the stuff he's done with Burton, I guess. I don't know. Just my opinion.
I think they're a good match. And
yes.
There was one recent Elfman score that I really dug. I think it may even be the Justice League score. I can't remember. I don't want to say.
He did Justice League?
He did the Justice League score,
shit.
I think.
I didn't realize that. I like Elfman a lot.
I do too.
I think he's an unbelievably talented musician.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a bad Danny Elfman score or his music always stands out, and there's a reason why when I think of film composers, I immediately think of him.
And composers are like anything, you want them to sound like what they sound like. Like you want your bands to sound like, you want Led Zeppelin to sound like Led Zeppelin. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
All right, this is a long paragraph, so bear with me here because we're coming towards the end. Initially concluding that Katrina controls the horseman, Ichabod discovers that the sigils she had drawn underneath his bed and in the church, which he believes summoned the horseman, was really one of protection. He finds that a wound on Lady Van Tassel's decapitated body was caused post-mortem. Van Tassel, alive and well, reveals herself as the master of the horseman. She faked her death and killed Van Tassel's servant girl, Sarah, to plant her body as hers. She takes Katrina to the windmill where she explains her true heritage. She and her twin sister were members of the impoverished Archer family who were evicted years ago by Peter Van Garrett when he favored Baltus and his family instead. She swore revenge against Van Garrett and all who had wronged her family, pledging herself to Satan if he would raise the horsemen to avenge her by killing them, which would allow her to claim the Van Garrett and Van Tassel estates uncontested. There is no period in there?
That's crazy. What a run-on.
We need to edit that.
An incredible run-on sentence. Real quick.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
I don't care about any of this at this point.
Right.
And that's another issue. So it's not that like all the performers are talented, all the action in the film and the look of the film, wonderful stuff. At this point when all the reveals are coming, I've kind of already figured out it's Miranda Richardson, or that's the actress's name, right? Miranda Richardson?
Yeah.
I kind of figured out it was her regardless of like the fake out death thing. Like I've seen enough horror movies to know if you don't see him die on screen at this point, if I don't see the head come off in the world of Sleepy Hollow, I'm not buying it.
Right.
So
unless it's
the kid.
Casper Van Dien.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah,
he's dead.
Yeah, he's definitely dead. That's true. Yes, fair enough. But so I'm kind of just like whatever explanation you're going to give me here is not. I'm not going to. I didn't care that much about the conspiracy at this point, like in terms of like the details of it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to care that much about the reveal either. Now I'm just ready to see the horseman. Take out his last victim. I'm ready to roll with that.
Manipulating her way into the Van Tassel household, she used fear, blackmail, and lust. Oh, I mean,
tale as old as time.
You can't deny those. To manipulate the elders into her plot, especially if you're an elder.
Hey, got to get it where you can get it.
Having eliminated all. Back then, though, if you're an elder, you're like 30 or 40.
That's true. Like, we're older than most of the elders in the. Yeah, that's true.
Having eliminated all other heirs and witnesses, as well as her sister, the Witch of the Woods, for aiding Ichabod, she summons the horseman to kill Katrina, the last person remaining in the way of her plans.
That seemed mean, by the way, killing the Witch of the Woods. She was all right.
Yeah.
She was okay. I love the Large Marge reference, by the way. Did you catch that?
No, I didn't.
Do you remember Large Marge?
Of course, from
yes,
Pee-wee.
Of course. Well, there's a scene when they visit the witch in the woods, when Ichabod visits her. There's a scene where she's kind of talking in shadow, and then she does the Large Marge face, where she's at the camera. It's 100% Large Marge. Like, yeah. So I really liked that bit. Yeah.
We talked a little bit about Depp and Ricci, what works with them, what doesn't. I just want to mention this is a great cast. We mentioned that a couple of them have, of course, been in Hammer horror movies in the past.
Sure.
But we've got Michael Gambon, Richard Griffiths, Michael Gow, Ian McDermott's in this, Christopher Lee is in this, Christopher Walken. So
love Michael Gow, by the way. Always love to see him and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Always my Alfred. Forever my Alfred.
Intruder alert.
Yes.
From Batman and Robin. Do you remember the Diet Coke commercial with Alfred?
I do. He did a couple commercials.
It's a great commercial, yeah.
Because they did which Batman movie has the drive-through line? I'll get drive-through. Is that Forever?
That
I think it's
sounds
Forever.
like Forever, yeah.
Well, they did a commercial alongside that because they had the Batman Forever. Remember the glasses? The mugs you could get?
Yep.
At McDonald's?
McDonald's, yep.
Yeah, I had the Two-Face one I always thought was really cool.
Yeah.
It was just too small. But anyway, but he did a McDonald's commercial too. Michael Gow getting it. Good job.
Let's finish this up, finally.
Let's do it.
Ichabod and Mazbeth rush to the windmill. Another classic horror element, the windmill.
Yes.
That's more of a universe. I always associate that with like Frankenstein. And
the burning
like
windmill.
But like
it burns
even
in this too.
Even the beginning, like they pull up on a horse and carriage, which
That's right.
always reminds me of like Dracula.
Yep.
After an escape that destroys the windmill and a subsequent chase to the Tree of the Dead, Ichabod retrieves the horseman's skull from Van Tassel and returns it to him, breaking the curse and setting the horseman free from Van Tassel's control. With his head restored, the horseman spares Katrina and instead abducts Van Tassel, giving her a bloody kiss and returning to hell via the Tree of the Dead with her in tow. Some of this mythology though is kind of sick. So.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
I just
that stuff I like. I'm with you. The
human story around it is just not.
Yeah.
I just wish it was a little bit stronger, but
with their dead in tow, fulfilling her end of the deal, with the case solved, Ichabod returns to New York City with Katrina and young Mazbeth just in time for the new century, which we're entering into.
I meant to mention earlier that if the chemistry between Christina Ricci and Depp is not great in this, the actor who plays Mazbeth and Depp's chemistry is really good. Like the two of them are a ton of fun to watch together.
Yeah,
him and his steward. Like I love those. Anytime those two are together, it's a ton of fun. I will say that.
This is okay. So I like Christina Ricci still.
Yeah.
I think she's a fantastic.
You watch her on Yellow Jackets.
Yellow
right?
Jackets. She is awesome on Yellow
yeah.
Jackets. She's my favorite character on that show. This though, I do want to say this about Depp. This is like my favorite time, like Johnny Depp time. Like as far as performances go, I think
in his like.
I love like '90s Johnny Depp into like the early 2000s
into like Jack Sparrow,
where he started to lose me is a little bit as he started to get into those Burton movies that we talked about a little bit more.
Like Alice in Wonderland.
It's a little bit too much for me.
The height of Depp for me was he did Pirates.
Yeah,
I already liked him like from stuff like this, and he did Pirates, and everybody loved Jack Sparrow when that first. Now, how you felt about him by the time that sixth movie came out. How many of those are there? 4 or 5?
You know what I always liked about like it's always one of those weird things. So I don't want to get into Johnny Depp's personal life.
Yeah.
But I always loved that he like continued to visit like sick kids dressed as Jack. Like it's amazing. I don't know.
Super cool. Yeah. Didn't have to do that. Yeah. I dig all that stuff.
Me too.
And he didn't seem to do it for the optics either. He just
he did it. Yeah.
But when he did he did the Jack Sparrow thing. Thought it was a great performance, and I was like, finally, like people are like really kind of seeing how good he can be on a major mainstream level. And then right after he did Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and I was like, "This is sick."
That is like that to me. Once Upon a Time in
that
Mexico,
is like
that is the like peak Johnny Depp to me because he's amazing.
He's so sweet.
That's when he shoots the guy for the pork, right?
It's so sweet, and he is so insanely different in that movie than he was like 3 months earlier when Pirates came out, or like those were like back to back.
Yeah,
I think they were the same year, and they were and I was like, this guy's like he's like on fire right now. And that was.
I'm glad you brought that up. That is my favorite. That might be my favorite. I like that more than Desperado. That's my favorite of that trilogy.
It is too.
Yeah.
For me, a lot of people like Desperado the most, but I like
that one. I like that one, and I think it's because of Depp.
I like all three. But
yeah, I think it's because of Depp though. I like he's amazing in that movie. I found the piece of trivia with Ricci.
Yes.
They first met on the set of Mermaids. Do you know why? Can you think of why? 1990. Do you think of what Johnny Depp's personal life and who was in Mermaids?
I don't remember Mermaids.
Mermaids was the Cher movie, and it also had Chris.
It was called Mermaids.
Yeah, Winona Ryder starred in it. And
they dated for a long time.
Yeah, so they met at the time, and she was just a kid in that.
So
movie.
Did Burton meet Depp through her then? Maybe because they did Beetlejuice.
That would make sense, wouldn't it?
Kind of sad too, because like he never used Ryder again.
Yeah, he dumped her
for Depp.
For Depp.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
That's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
That is weird because Winona Ryder seems like she
perfectly made for.
Maybe we don't want to dive too much into.
It's not. I don't know what happened. I'm just.
Yeah. So there you
wildly
go.
speculating.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Cool.
That's the end of Sleepy Hollow.
Excellent.
A movie I like.
Yeah, I like it too. I do. I feel like I feel kind of.
That's fine.
Lousy, but I mean, the whole time I have to say the whole time there was just felt like there was something missing.
Let's tell the good people what we're doing next.
Yes. So we talked about this a little bit ahead of time. So it's horror adjacent, but we don't get a lot of chances to do that stuff. And because we're sticking with a Halloween season theme, movies that take place during the Halloween season, I wanted to go with The Crow. You mentioned it last time around.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of the film. I like this movie a lot. I've not seen it in a while. It's one of those movies that I always think of as it's probably in my top 50 or top 100 of all time.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I'm excited to revisit.
It's up there for me. Not like top, top, but it's on the list. And but I don't watch it that often. I don't know why that is. It's one of those usually my favorite movies I tend to watch frequently. Yeah. This one's kind of I don't, so I'm excited to watch it again. It's been a few years at least.
I haven't seen this in a long time, and I'm really excited to revisit it because I don't remember a lot beyond.
Cool.
There are iconic moments in this movie.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Alex Proyas, director of Gods of Egypt.
Where is is that the last movie? Is he in director's jail for that? Because he should not be.
No, it's right there. It has a prime space in my. We were told the Gods of Egypt story on the podcast before.
I don't think so.
When I bought everybody I knew a copy of Gods of Egypt.
I stand by Gods of Egypt being a really
it's fun
comic book version of the Egyptian gods.
It's fun. It's great. I love Gods of Egypt. Anyway, he has done some stuff since.
Oh, has he? Okay.
But not a lot.
Okay.
Some shorts. He did a movie called Mask of the Evil Apparition. A new short film. Okay, so that's a short. He's only done shorts since.
Weird. He must be doing it, trying to get back in the game, huh?
But he's got a killer picture on IMDb.
That's a great picture. He directed this. Proyas was big around this time because he directed Dark City.
Dark City.
Dark City is a movie that I can't see. I literally cannot see what's going on in that movie.
No, it's too dark. It is a Dark City. Yeah, and he did iRobot, which I kind of liked.
I kind of like that too. Yeah.
He did a movie called Garage Days in 2002. I remember liking that movie. He did Knowing with Nicolas Cage.
Oof.
That's where things started to get a little bit weird. Oh, boy. So, well,
let's talk about
The Crow.
Prime Proyas.
Yes, Prime Proyas.
Next time with The Crow. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Stay safe out there.